In this video, we take a look at how to use grids on TransLution Android. We have covered the use of Android in our earlier video, so please refer to that for anything other than grids. Once you have selected the TransLution app, you're taken to the login screen where you need to enter or scan your username and password and select the company. TransLution has a couple of grid options available. Here we see how a TL Selector Grid looks on Android. The TL Selector Grid has all the information shown in a single grid. Here we can configure buttons on the grid to perform specific actions. In this example, we have a button to select all and one to add data. We can also configure the grid to show different statuses in different colors to alert staff on potential issues or items that may require their attention. Here, we have used the Select All button to quickly select all the rows. When we click on the Post Data button, the data is posted to the ERP and falls off the grid. To refresh the screen at any time, just run your finger down the screen. Now, let's take a look at how to search on grids. If you have a lot of data in the grid, you can use the search functionality to quickly find what you're looking for. In the search field here, we type in A2, and the data is narrowed down to everything containing A2. The search option works across all the columns in the grid. As we continue to enter info, the data is further narrowed down, as we see here. When we enter A20 and when we enter A200, we see all the info specific to the stock code A200. Now let's take a look at general grids on Android. When we select on a record in the header section, we see the data for that record in the details section on the bottom of the screen. This gives us all the detailed information on the selected row with line colors for easy identification. Now let's take a look at how to edit data in a general grid. Remember that the TL Selector Grid works in the same way. To edit data directly in a grid, first select the row or rows that you want to edit. Then, on each row, select the cell to edit, make the change you need before clicking on the button at the bottom of this form to update your changes. In this example, the button to click is called Accept, but it can be anything relevant to your site. You can edit more than one row at a time, but remember to select the row you want to edit. Any changes made in rows that are not selected will be lost. Here we see that we have edited the quantity that Peter Jones had produced from 2 to 3. On general grids, we can only edit information in the detail section, that is the lower portion of the grid and not the header. Instead of editing data directly in the grid, you can also add or edit data in a separate form by clicking on a button. In this example, we are using a TL Selector Grid to show you how to add or edit data using a new form called from a button. The general grid works in the same way. If we click on the Add Data button, this opens up a form with steps asking us to enter the data we require. In this example, we enter Added for Training. We are then taken to the next step, where we enter the warehouse as WH. The next step is to enter the bin as bin 001. And the last step is to enter the quantity as 12. When all the steps have been completed, we are taken back to the grid, and here we can see the data that we just added. The same process can be used for editing data, rather than editing data directly in a grid, as we have seen before. We can also search on this general grid. To search in the header, click here. As we type in the search field, PE, it narrows the data down to Peter Jones. To search data in the detail section of the grid, click here. We see the results for everything that has PL in the word. Here we have narrowed down all the planned maintenance jobs. We hope this has been useful and thank you for your time.